Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we're checking out the latest from Purified Audio. This is the Micro Limiter. The Micro Limiter is a brand new plugin from Purified Audio, and it's exactly what you think. It's a limiter plugin. There's very few controls on this because it's based on a hardware unit from the early 90s and just that late 80s, early 90s era. You probably have seen this. So as soon as you see the user interface, you're probably going to recognize this. It has 3 controls and a couple other little things in here that we can adjust, like presets and the size and things like that. But it's 3 controls, it's a limiter, it does exactly what you need, the way you need it done. So let's dive into the DAW and take a look at. Okay, so here it is. This is the Purified Micro Limiter. You can see it's huge on the screen, but I blew that up for you guys so that it's easier to see. 3 main controls. Input, obviously, how much you're driving into this limiter. Release, it's exactly what you think it is. It's the release time after something is dropped below the fixed threshold of this limiter. So you can have it long or you can have it short. If it's counterclockwise like this or all the way to the left, it's very fast. And if you turn it all the way to the right, it slows it down. It takes longer to recover after coming back under the threshold. And then output, obviously, is output. Then on the right-hand side, you have in, out. This is just a built-in bypass button. So it's not changing the meter up here. There's a little LED indicator of signal. So it's not changing what you're looking at. It's just a bypass button. And then like we see in other Purified plugins, auto gain, oversampling, the preset browser. Here is your mix knob if you want to do some parallel processing in the plugin itself. A/B options, undo, redo, and the user size. As you can see, I have it maxed out for you guys. That's it. Now let's get into the sound of this thing. We're going to use the same song from the Death Western video because I thought it was a good example. And we're going to go to our drums. Now, I'm just going to solo out the drums, and I'm going to tell you right now that I have Micro Limiter in its default version on a bus. Because what I'm going to do is I want to limit my drums, but I don't want to kill all my transients. I don't want to lose any snap or attack. I want to do some parallel processing to kind of beef them up and add some extra there. So drums on their own sound like this. Okay, so now on my drum, and this is a MIDI drums, it's programmed drums. I'm just using that as if it was a drum bus, and I've created a send to a bus track. So if I turn this on, we are now getting some signal, and you can see just a tiny bit of noise because of plugins. It's fine, I don't care. It's not from Micro Limiter, it's from something else. We can go into Micro Limiter now and adjust our levels. And what I'm actually going to do, let me clear out my solos, and let's just listen to Micro Limiter. Well, that didn't sound like it was doing much. Well, let's change that. Let's drive our input. But we'll turn on auto gain so that it's not going to really affect, we're not going to just get this massive increase in volume because we're driving into this limiter. It's going to turn down the output automatically, and then we can blend the taste from there. But what we're really going to do is use our fader because this is parallel processing instead of using the mix knob. I know, but we're going to adjust later with the fader to blend in with our drum bus and get just this extra life and presence from these drums using Micro Limiter. So let's drive into Micro Limiter and really hear this thing going. Really cool. Now we're going to do the same exact thing with the input where it is and the output matched for it. And I'm going to adjust the release. Right now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it to like 12 o'clock. Or as we're playing, I'll put it to about 12 o'clock. And then you'll hear how the release slows down and we get some more depth to these drums. And we'll go one more time and we'll go all the way up. So it's doing exactly what you expect a limiter to do when pushed this hard and the release really slow on some drums. It's killing our transients. There's barely any transient information remaining, but we now have so much more depth to these drums. We can use that and blend it in, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go out of solo, and we're only going to listen to our drums. Don't worry, I have my bus set to solo isolate, so we will hear this. That's also known as solo safe. I have a video on that if you don't know what I'm talking about, and that's going to pop in the top right-hand corner right now. But we're going to listen to the micro limiter, and we're going to use our fader to blend this in with our drum bus. So we'll have all of our transients from their drum bus, and then we'll get a ton of body from the micro limiter. Take a listen, and we're going to go a little bit longer too. So you heard I turned my send off so that you could hear a before and after. All of our transients are definitely coming from our drum bus, and the micro limiter is adding a lot of body and a lot of depth to these drums. And we're still on our slowest release. Now let's go the exact opposite. Let's go really fast. And I think the default, if I double click, is all the way down. It's at 0. And that's how you reset back. You double click on this and it gets it back to normal. So let's do the same exact thing, but with our fastest release. Now we're getting a ton of snap, a ton of attack, and we're bringing the presence of the drums and those transients forward a bit more. This is how release can affect the sound of things, either through a compressor or through a limiter, and in this case, micro limiter. So let's kind of just slow this down a little, and you also may have noticed I needed far less of micro limiter when it was in its fastest mode to get some of that snap. Earlier, I was almost at 0 to get a lot of the body, but now I'm at -11. So you really have to use your ears and blend to taste. We're also soloed right now, so it's probably not where it's going to live, but I think you get the idea. Here, we slowed down release a little bit. Let's do it one more time. We'll put it to here, about 9 o'clock-ish. So there it is. That is Purafied's micro limiter. Now, drums are not the only place where you can put micro limiter. You can put this across a ton of different kinds of tracks. Anything that you want to put into place and say, you know what, this is where you live. You're limited to right here. You can use micro limiter with its basic controls and very few options to get the control of your source that you're looking for. You know what? Go ahead and try this across your mix bus too, to just keep things in order. Do a tiny amount. Drop your input if you need to just get a little bit of limiting, and give yourself just a little bit more volume if needed with the output. If you want to pick up your copy of the micro limiter, use the link down below to head over to Purified Audio. That's all for now. If you found anything informative, please like and share the video. To join the community, jump into the Discord. There's a link down below. You want to have your songs mixed by me? Head to timflansbaum.com and fill out the form. And if you have a question, ask it in the comments and I'll answer it in a future video. Thanks for watching.